We run cold email at full scale for companies that sell to businesses online, sending up to 3 million emails a month for an individual customer. And for every single order that our customers receive, we can say either if we caused it or if it was going to happen anyway. And almost nobody running cold email can actually attribute this. They'll look at reply rates, positive reply rates, and therefore say that a campaign runs well. We flip that script, build an attribution engine, and we can say exactly how much revenue which campaign is doing. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how we do this, how we build this system for ourselves, and most importantly, how we make sure it's actually honest. So I want to start with the core idea. Attribution should separate revenue outbound merely matched from revenue outbound actually cost. This way you're able to tell if a channel is working or not. And since these companies we work with sell online, it's very important for us to tell them, hey, this sale was going to happen anyway, whether it's Google ads, whether it's Meta ads, whether it's like whatever, it was going to happen anyway, or hey, this order, it was actually us. And one of the most important things is, I mentioned it here as a broken link, is the attribution system. Because in a sales-led motion, attribution has a very visible trail. It's very easy to grasp. A prospect replies, a meeting is booked, the deal moves through the CRM system, and revenue goes at closed won. But when you go self-serve, that trail kind of diminishes because you send someone an email and they end up buying, but the process in between is very hard to track. Even with UTM links in the campaigns or whatever, it's still hard to track. Mainly because dropping a link in your cold email is going to hurt deliverability. And the problem with that is that this means that your channel might as well be working very well. Maybe the reply rates are lower, maybe the positive reply rates are lower, but if people don't respond but they actually do buy, then it doesn't matter. And if you undercount attribution, you'll kill a channel that's actually working. If you overcount it, you're scaling something that's not working. So we need to make an honest determination between, is this channel working or is it not? And when we were looking for a solution on the market that can help us to track this accurate, we found that there is not a single solution that will fix this specifically for cold outreach. So we started to build our own, and we call it our attribution system. And it exists of a few layers. So the first layer, of course, is the contact history, the people that we actually email. This determines who we email and when we emailed them. Simple. If the conversion happened before we emailed them, it's 100% sure it wasn't the email attributing anything to the conversion. So it's important to know, to have the contact history. And secondly, it's first party clicks. Which specific person at which specific company, of course, actually clicked on the email. And yes, I know I said just now that it's not possible to send a link in a cold email. Just hear me out. The second one is non-clicked visits. Which company we emailed visited a few minutes or a few hours after we actually emailed them by just searching the company name. Not through our links, not through the domain we're sending from, but just went online and visited themselves. Then fourth, the order feed, who bought and when. This way we can connect the outreach we did to the conversions that happened. And then with the attribution system, we're able to determine, okay, this was us or it was not us. Fifth, in our case, we work with brands on net new customers. So we also make an exclusion list of customers that are already their customers. We might have emailed them after all, the similar company, maybe a different person, but they can't be claimed because they're already their customers. And then lastly, and this is maybe even the most important part of this, is the holdout. Because it's important to know, okay, in the million emails we sent, we also deliberately left a holdout, and how much conversions happened on that holdout. I'll get to that in a second as well. So let's talk about knowing exactly who we emailed. I know this sounds trivial, but almost nobody is doing this properly. Every contact we email will go into a specific database with the company information, the domain, the exact date we reached out to them for the first time, and all the other information we have on the lead. Not the sequencing platform, because then someone ends up deleting a campaign or archiving a campaign, the leads go out. It's hard to keep track of that. We put this in a separate database so we can query it years after the campaign has happened. That's the denominator. Without this, we would never be able to answer the question, did we create this or did we not? When we onboard a customer that actually was already doing outbound, we take their sequencer and we pour that into the same database as well. Of course, marked differently, but we pour it into one big database so we actually know everyone we reached out to. It's a bit unglamorous, but it's important to have this basis structurally correct. Who we reach out to, which company, and when we reach them. So then layer 2, invisible first-party click tracking. When a lead responds to our email, we'll send them a follow-up with a discount code or an offer or whatever, and a link to the actual page of our customer in this case, where they can actually place the order. That link, if they click that, we want to know exactly who specifically, which specific person clicked that link. Or even if we never actually sent the link, if they never actually replied, we want to know it was them who actually visited the website of our customer. Since it's impossible to put a link into a cold email if they've never responded, we needed to find a way around that. A way we can actually know who clicked without putting the link in the email. So one of the ways we could do that, and we thought about this, is we take the domain we sent from and we make it redirect to one of our own domains. At that point, we know it has been clicked because we can track it on our own domain, and then forward that to our customer's domain. Problem is, if you do that at scale, the domain we put in between to track this will be flagged by spam busters everywhere. And therefore that model wouldn't hold up for a long time. So we didn't go that route. So the tracking had to live on either the domain we used to send or at the customer's end domain. Since we're unable to track that at the customer's end domain, we needed to do it at the beginning, at the sending level. Easily said, if we use govectify.com to send an email, we needed to know that the moment that link was visited, who actually visited it. We needed to be able to track which IP from which location, like who it actually was, so we could reverse IP tie that back to who we reached out to. And making sure we can do that, we needed to build a stack and infrastructure to do that, because currently with most inbox providers you set up a redirect to a link and it will just hop over right to that link through Cloudflare. Now it has to go directly. That needed some engineering, but now we can say exactly how many clicks we created for our customers, and we know exactly who clicked, which creates an entirely new set of campaigns we are able to run, like retargeting and upsell and cross-sell after conversion. This on its own is the single most technical part of the whole system, and I'm not going to go through DNS and how to set this up, but what I want you to know to understand from this lesson, at least we tried this and figured out very quickly, logically, that it doesn't work. If you put a domain in the middle, it will create issues. Then the third layer, the majority of people who never click. So buyers will Google the brand, forward the email to someone else at the company, read it on mobile, return later from a different device, and company level visitor identification can connect some of these things back to an emailed account. Though we had to treat this signal honestly, of course. Company identification on a corporate network is most likely to be accurate because those IP networks are better known. Small businesses, like a medium small business here somewhere in a small city, it's way harder because they usually don't have a known IP address. So reverse IP lookup on a company level is therefore way harder. On top of that, as soon as you set this redirect up, it will directly send bots to the website as well. Because these corporate security systems like Microsoft, Proofpoint, Mimecast, there are a bunch more, they scan the domain that has been sent from before it actually gets forwarded to the actual person. To do that, to scan this, they'll visit the website that it redirects to automatically. We have to filter all of those out to make sure that we're not tracking wrong companies. We don't want to know that Microsoft looked up the website and then we know, oh, we emailed Microsoft, a Microsoft account, hotmail.com. It doesn't align. So we need to filter the ghosts, as we call that, out. And we try to use this as an intent. So the ghost tracking has to go out so we can actually see who who are actual visitors, so we can use those in retargeting in the intent situation. Then 4, we wanted to match orders with a certainty tier, because there are certain levels of certainty we have that the email directly created the order. Our customers send us a feed of their orders with order information and simply an email address, and then we threw that into a machine where we check, okay, how certainly do we know that we caused the order, or is the verdict this was not us? And then based on that machine, we'll give them a score of certainty it was us. As a reason, like the exact person emailed and we know they clicked before they ordered, it's fairly certain that was us. If the exact person emailed before ordering, we emailed exactly this person and they checked out, but we didn't register a click, then that might be a small SMB that we reached out to that we can't reverse IP lookup, and they just looked you up on Google and they converted. It's a high probability that that came through us. It's their exact email address. When we email a company and they visited before they ordered through reverse IP lookup, then we know, okay, it's very likely that they forwarded the email, which is actually information you can see as well. And then lastly, we emailed the company, we emailed someone at the company, and someone completely else ordered. Then that's quite of a weak signal, but if we know that the company is small, then fine. Lastly, if there's no connection, then it wasn't us. So we don't tie this back into one like yes or no. We tie it into no or yes with a certainty score. So we can actually say, okay, with this much certainty, we're creating this amount of orders. Therefore, you can, with more certainty, decide if the channel is working or not. So to actually be able to defend what you're attributing, you also have to make sure that you skip anything that the system might attribute where you're upfront already certain it's not us, it's not the cold email. So what we're doing is we're excluding existing customers, own brand of subsidiaries of the same company, shared domains. So if someone is already a customer of them, but that company uses 4 different domains, then we make sure we exclude all 4 of those. On top of that, free mail providers, because if someone at gmail.com converted and then later someone else at gmail.com goes to the website and converts, that has no correlation at all. Same goes for schools or government institutions where thousands and thousands of people work. There's no connection there, so that also has to go out. And then lastly, of course, orders from outside of the attribution window. So if someone converts and then for whatever reason 3 days later we sent them an email, then there's no correlation there. And every of these exclusions lowers the reported number, which is in the end the goal, because it has to be an honest outcome and not just like a high number to look cool. So then here's a fast way to here's a fast way to test your attribution if you build a system like this yourself in 10 minutes. Start by counting the buyers you emailed during the 60 days before they ordered. Then count the buyers emailed only during the 60 days after they ordered, and then see what those differences are. Because of course, like the emails you sent after a conversion could not have caused it. But then if you see that you email people and after that they convert at a similar rate as before you emailed them, then you know that cold email is not doing anything. But what you'll see if your cold email campaigns are actually performing is that changes. You'll email a lot of people before they actually buy something. You'll still sometimes have some overlap. Definitely if you send high enough volume, you'll have some overlap of people you emailed after they converted. But in most cases, it will definitely be the other way around. Then lastly, and this is one of the most important parts, we've been asked by customers why we do this, why we think it's one of the most important things we do, is a holdout. Every time our system fills up the campaigns, and for the record, we do hundreds of thousands of leads every week, a small percentage of the enriched, validated emails will never be emailed. They'll go right into a database, which we call the holdout section, and they'll not be emailed at any given moment. This is done 100% randomly with like no rules tied to it at all, and it creates a separate set of people that we know we never emailed. Then what we do is we track the conversions that happen on that group as well. So we'll track the 90% we actually email, and see how many conversions happen there. Then we do the same thing, the exact same thing on the 90%, sorry, on the 10% we never emailed, and we see how many conversions happen there. And lastly, we compare the two. If we then see that the holdout converted at 0.1%, but the people we actually emailed converted at 0.9%, then we know we created that, or cold email created that 0.8% of conversions. And there are two requirements to do this in a good way. You'll need enough volume, because if you do this at a too low volume, then the sample size is too small and there's nothing to be said about it. And secondly, a locked designs, like there's a locked infrastructure, because the second they get marked as holdout, you can never email them. Otherwise, this system doesn't work anymore. Then what we do as an agency when we work with online converting companies, we build on the proven share we created, checked with the holdout. Now, we as Factify have been creating this attribution system from the ground up in the past couple of months, and we have no reason to stop creating this tech further. Currently, our campaigns are scaling heavily and we're finding the right partners to grow this with further, and we're going to add a next level. So I want to take you a bit into where this is going, because of course, attribution is a bit of backwards looking at what happened. Now we're looking to see, okay, with what signals can we work that we can actually know, okay, this is the right way, the right time to reach out to the right person. For an example, when an account we reached out to and we know who they are, they went onto the website, they looked at the pricing page, they went to the checkout but didn't finish it, although you didn't know what their email was. They added products to the cart, but they never actually filled in their email address. They never actually took the next step. So they get into your sequence of following up with them to convert. And tracking this with a pixel will make sure that we know, okay, these are the people we emailed. This is the entire buyer journey in between, and then they convert. And there are a lot of routes we can go with retargeting, reaching out to prospects that are actively looking at the buying page and never actually fill in their email address without losing them in the process. And we're developing this with the right brands because we want to make this feel very intuitive. It will feel timed well because that's exactly what we're going to do. This way we know exactly when to reach out and what to say at which point. That way we can bring up the conversions and create more B2B orders on your website or more B2B SaaS subscriptions for your software. So if you want to build a similar attribution system yourself, you can do it in a week. You start creating a record of all the people you reach out to and the timestamps you do it. Connect all the available person and company signals from your website or from external sources like our B2B and match those in the dataset. Then take that dataset and check that against your order feed. Of course, exclude existing customers, internal people within the team or within the company, shared domains or invalid matches to make sure this is accurate. Then run the 60-day diagnosis, like I said. Check that you actually reached out to them and take the 60-day window to calculate how big the difference is between order, reach out and order. Then from this point forward, if you do outreach, establish a randomized holdout at a sufficient scale. So if you do enough outreach, establish the holdout. So it comes down very simply. Know who you emailed, track without wrecking deliverability, catch buyers who never clicked, match orders on a certainty ladder, and then exclude everything you cannot defend and prove with a holdout what actually was caused by this channel. And if you want to use this right away and you want us to implement this for your brand, then in the description, you can find my link, book a call with my team, and then we'll help you to get this set up.